Michael is a very clever person, and he'll command respect from the dressing room.
Wayne, would you join Michael Carrick as part of his coaching staff?
Of course I would. I think it's a no-brainer if that's the situation.
The pitch was covered in snow. The captain, Paul Dawson, I get there, he's on a tractor trying to get snow off the pitch.
Well, a lot can happen in just over a week, can't it? In our last podcast, we were talking about Ruben Amorim's post-match comments. Now, Ruben Amorim is no longer, of course, the manager of Manchester United. Wayne, just another quiet week at your former club.
Yes, it was strange. I think it was coming when I think you could see. I was actually trying to hold back a little bit.
I could tell.
Last weekend, because I didn't want to go too strong, but I felt like I had to give me honest opinion, and I think that was coming. And obviously, with Ruben getting the sack, then obviously Darren Fletcher's gone in for the last two games, and probably not what he would have wanted or the club would have wanted in terms of a draw, and obviously last night losing to Brighton in the FA Cup. So yeah, a difficult moment, and I think the next week is probably going to be a huge week for the football club.
Okay, how have you found it?
Well, he was trying to get himself sacked, wasn't he? I feel like he'd had a couple of meetings that hadn't gone his way, and he was doing everything in his power to get rid of it. There was talks apparently that he told Wilcox he's going to speak to his agent, and he wanted out. And you know, I think, look, people were going, on social media, people were going, oh yeah, look, it's not the back four or back three that was the problem. But I mean, Darren Fletcher's not had much time on the training field. Poor guy's just been flung into it, and people were expecting miracles. I think there's a lot of issues top down from the club. I think I'd lost faith in a lot of Amorim's tactics, but I think you could sense that he'd lost faith in it himself. And I think there was times where he was doing things out of stubbornness rather than what was good for the team.
I think the players need to take responsibility, because that's Ruben Amorim, that's Ten Hag, that's the managers before that. And at the end of the day, players will sit there, the manager gets sacked, and they say, oh, we didn't like that manager, and now we get a fresh chance. These players are not performing, and ultimately that ends in the manager getting sacked. And
I don't think they down tools though. When
no, I'm not saying down tool, but then the question is, are they good enough? And that's what I said last week. Are the players good enough to take Manchester United into the Champions League places or to win trophies? So I do think some players can perform a lot better than what they are.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the game against Burnley showed that there was, I think they had like 30 shots at goal, which was encouraging for United. It felt like a positive step in a new direction. But yesterday against Brighton, it was like loose balls everywhere. Cunha was terrible. His first touch was all over the place. Like, players not being able to do the simple things, and it felt like more of the same. And I almost thought like that you've got a great chance here in the FA Cup to make this season a success. You yourself as a player should be like, do you know what? Like, let's go and show them. And there was nothing. There was no fight. There was no belief. The confidence was shot, and it was. I don't know. As a fan watching it, everything felt flat and dejected. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
It's going to take something miraculous to turn that group of players around and try and be successful this season, because at the minute it's flat, and Fletcher's is doing everything he can to try and keep it in place until they appoint someone, but at the minute it's we're just hoping we can find some stability.
At the time of recording, and I'm saying that because it feels like at any point this could change, we're still waiting, aren't we, for news of who the next Manchester United interim manager, it sounds like that's what they're going to do, doesn't it? Get a manager until the end of the season is going to be. At this point, which is Monday, Michael Carrick is the front runner to become that interim manager. Wayne, he's someone that you know very well. He's a friend of yours as well. Would he be a good fit? Would someone of that calibre that knows the club be the right man to take them forward in the next few months?
Yeah, well, I was with him in Barbados last week.
So he's going to have a lovely suntan on the Saturday night.
Yeah, no, so obviously none of us seen any of this coming. And Michael is a very clever person, and he's done a very good job at Middlesbrough. He'll command respect from the dressing room, if that's the case, if Michael goes in. And yeah, I think it'd be a really good fit. What we're looking at now, you're not seeing any top managers available at this moment in time. I mean, like through history, you've been successful and won big trophies. So, do you go back to Ole or do you go back to Michael? That's what it looks like. It's going to be one of them two, and certainly I know Michael better than I know Ole. I think Michael will be a really good fit.
Okay, Ole and Michael are the two names been mentioned, as Wayne said. As a fan, who would you like to see in there?
I mean, either or. For me, I just think it's about like salvaging this season. I think Michael Carrick's got a 100% win record, I think, during his time as an interim last time. So I think it will be good. I mean, look, a lot of us look back on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's time. I mean, in hindsight, looking at it, we played some of the best football we have done since Fergie under Ole. But I think Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna were instrumental to that anyway. As his coaching staff. So it'll be good to see Michael Carrick come in with fresh ideas. But what I want to know is Wayne, would you join Michael Carrick as part of his coaching staff?
We can't lose him from the pod.
Of course I would. I think it's a no-brainer if that's the situation. But I think what the club needs is people around the place. So whether that's if Michael goes in, for instance, whether that's Fletch or John O'Shea or myself, whoever, it needs people around the club who know the football club, and Roy Keane. I think for me, I know Roy's had his opinion, whatever, and I said this early on in the season about Roy Keane going in, having people who know the club, who care for the club, who understand what it takes to be a Manchester United player. I think that's where the club needs to be, and I've spoke about early on in the season where the club is, it's lost that identity, and it's lost that that family feel, if you like. I think this, whether it's Ole, whether it's Michael, is an opportunity to bring that back. And whether that's the case, we don't know, but I think it's a great opportunity to bring the spirit of Manchester United back into the football club.
Is that what the fans want, do you think, Kay? Is that kind of they're just crying out to see something that they associate with Manchester United, the Manchester United DNA again?
I think a lot gets made of the Manchester United DNA. I don't think you necessarily need to have played for United to understand what it means to be a Manchester United manager, but I think it does really help. I mean, if you look back at like our two most successful managers in the past, Sir Matt Busby and Sir Alex Ferguson, none of them played for United. I mean, Matt Busby played for Liverpool and Man City. But I think at this stage, if you look at a lot of, if you look at Bayern Munich, they've got a great setup in terms of the way they get ex-players to come in and take up a lot of the roles in the board and so on and so forth, because it allows a continuity to give people in that club the sense of what it means to play for Bayern Munich and how big it is, and it allows for a smoother transition. I think over the past 10, well, even more, longer years since we lost Fergie, I think there's been a lot of changing. There hasn't been a clear strategy. We've chopped and changed from one manager with a certain style to another manager with a certain style. But I think the fundamentals at Man United and what the fans really want to see is attacking football and people with a winning mentality. I think there's been players that have come to United, and even if they haven't looked like they're going to score or whatever, but just trying. You want to see attacking football, but you want to see work rate and desire and hunger, and if you go back through all the United teams, United from the early 90s, say, which is probably more relevant. You look at David Beckham, for instance, unbelievable quality, but worked harder than anyone else on the pitch. Ryan Giggs worked harder than anyone else on the pitch, and that hunger, but they have the ability alongside it. But they have that willingness to run and fight and drive, and you make mistakes, you lose games. That happens, but if you work, more often than not, you get the benefits from that. And I think we're not seeing players sprinting as hard as they can sprint or running as hard as they can, and that's affecting the results.
Wayne, this is all obviously very hypothetical. When Kay asked you, would you go in there? And I know there's a queue of ex-Manchester United players that are in the media, probably ones that aren't even in the media as well, that would want to go in there. But if you were to go in there, what would be, or if Michael was to go in there, what would be the first things that would need addressing?
Work rate.
Is it that simple?
And I know that sounds simple, but work rate and running and hunger and fight. And I watched, it was really interesting, I watched Chelsea tonight, Liam Senior's first game, and I've seen Chelsea players running harder than I've seen them running all season. I know he made a lot of changes, but you get your rewards, and then your players with the ability and your match winners and players who can dictate the game will be able to do that so much easier if you have a work rate, and we're not seeing players do that, and it's sad.
This is maybe going to sound a bit silly, but how do you get that work rate? Like, what do you do? Because it sounds so simple to me that players, when I watch a team, I would expect the team I support to have a work rate. How do you get that out of them if they're not doing it at the moment?
I think there's no consequences for a lot of these players. You got somebody like Diego Dallo. I'm so surprised at how he's managed to stay at the club as long as he has, because time and time again he makes mistakes and there's no consequences for the action. Like, what? I don't feel like if a player doesn't run, or if a player doesn't track back, or if a player doesn't give his all, I don't think there are any repercussions for that at the moment.
Yeah, and that's difficult because you don't have the squad of players you'd like to change it. But then Manchester United traditionally is a club who has developed and brought academy players through. So while it's actually in this transition, throw them in. If the players aren't going to run, you throw them in. You give them an opportunity. I'm not saying the players I've done it all the time, but there's certain players who you see who are cutting corners, and that's costing the team.
Well, the most damning thing for me was it felt like the tactics at one point was pass the ball to Shear Lacey and see what he can do. And Shear Lacey's absolutely amazing, but he's a kid.
I felt for him against Brighton. I was watching that game with Phil Jones for Match of the Day, and I felt for him on a side note.
But he was showing the passion and desire and the willingness to get forward. And of course, look, he got a red card, and I don't agree with the booking. I thought it was silly, but it was somebody that wore his heart on his sleeve, and he understood what it was to play for this team, and he was going over there making runs. He was beating players, hitting the ball, and his cameo against Burnley as well was fantastic.
There's things over the last two games which I think as fans you can take and look and think that's a real positive. I think Fletcher's has really got so much more out of Sesko in what we're seeing. Shea Lacey's coming in, he's doing well, and so there's some positives, and it's going to take time. Whoever goes in, it's Michael Carrick or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, whoever goes in, it's going to be a very difficult job to get a connection, get all this group of players together to be successful. So it is going to be really difficult, but we're seeing positive moments in, as I said, with Sesko and young Shea Lacey coming in. Hopefully Kobbie Mainoo gets a run of games and shows us what a player he can be. So there's a few positives, even though in the last two games it feels like it's really down.
Well, I think the positives came from putting the players in the positions that they actually want to play in. Like Patrick Dorgu played in his preferred position for the first time since he's come to the club, and I think a lot's been made of systems and whatever, but Fletch played a back four and put players where they're meant to be playing for their profiles, and it showed positive signs against a match at Burnley, certainly. But yeah, yesterday was just ridiculous.
Kate, how important do you think this appointment is for the Manchester United board? They've obviously had a few appointments to make over the recent years, but I know that this is only an interim role, but it feels like an especially important one in terms of building the foundations for next season, because whatever the manager that takes over in the summer, be it the interim carries on or whatever, they need to be left a club that's potentially in Europe, don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the Ineos's track record has been embarrassing. Let's get it straight. Like, coming in, they came to this club saying, "Oh yeah, the footballing people and the adults are back in the room, and we're going to turn this club around." They did it with Ten Hag. They were shopping around a job to everybody in Europe, to whoever wanted it, and then in the end they felt embarrassed and gave Ten Hag a new contract, only to go and sack him later. They brought in Amorim in the middle of a season when they knew that they didn't have the players to play the system that he wanted, and told him it's now or never. They sacked Dan Ashworth 3 months after he came, after paying so much money in order to bring him to the club, and he didn't want Amorim there anyway. It's just been embarrassment after embarrassment, and now the guy that you did bring in, you've sacked him. So all eyes are on Wilcox and Barada and Sir Jim Radcliffe to make a great appointment this time round, because at the moment, their track record is absolutely disastrous. Like this isn't how a top club should be run. There needs to be decisive measures taking place, and if you're going to make a decision, stick to it. But yeah, right now it doesn't look promising for them lot, and I think they are biding their time, and I think that is the correct thing to do, because I think the manager market opens up after the World Cup. You have potentially people like Nagelsmann, Thomas Tuchel, Carlo Ancelotti, even. But yeah, it's embarrassing, and they need to do something drastic to get this right.
It does feel like the club just needs stabilising over the next few months, Wayne, which is maybe why the names that are being mentioned, I guess, because that's what the club so desperately craves. That's what is from listening to you. That's what you want. It's just a bit of normality and success.
Ole done a good job when he was at United, and so if it is Ole, I've no doubt he'll bring that back in, and Michael, no doubt in his ability. So it looks like it's one of them two, and I'd be surprised if Ole takes it on an interim basis.
What do you think, he wants a permanent job?
I'd imagine so, if that's where he's been before. Michael, I know, loves the football club and would step in to do a job for the club if he can. But then it's an opportunity, if that's the case, for Michael to go and show what he can do over the next few months, and make the owners look at him and say, you know what, we don't need to look elsewhere. So it's an opportunity for one of them two. I'd imagine, if it looks like it is one of them two, to go and Ole, not so much to prove himself, but for Michael to go and prove himself, and add on to the 4 games he's already had and show that he's capable of doing that job.
Okay, the criticism, or critics of this, would say that both Carrick and Solskjaer, despite their history with Manchester United, probably don't have the history in terms of where they've coached before to be Manchester United manager. But do you think all of this conversation shows exactly why those 2 names are the only names really being mentioned at the moment? Because Manchester United needs something different at the moment.
Well, I just think, who are you going to get in for 6 months? You're not going to get like a Carlo Ancelotti in for 6 months, are you? You're not going to get one of the top managers in the world to come in. And I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing that you're getting people that have been at the club before to come in.
I think we forget that Ruben Amorim was 41.
Yeah,
He was a young man. I know he worked in Portugal, but he was 41. He was very young. You look at the Brighton manager. You look at, obviously, Lee Mancini now going in at Chelsea, and Maresca at Chelsea. He'd managed once at Leicester before he gets the Chelsea job. But because he's foreign, we don't look at that. I know Ole's a foreign manager, but I think personally, Michael Carrick, who knows the club, would be a great fit, because we're getting more young English coaches in.
It's great, isn't it?
No, but just I think at Man United, he knows that club inside out. He lives and breathes that club. It's same. Michael Carrick's son is in the same team as my son, the youth team. There every week. Obviously, when he's not coaching at Middlesbrough, knows the club inside out, and that's what the club needs.
Man City at home and Arsenal away the next 2 games. Nice easy start for whoever goes in.
Yeah. Give it a week. Canners or Ole, give it a week. Sorry, Fletch.
I mean, talk about being put into the deep end. Look, I think if it is Michael Carrick that comes in, I think it'll be great for the club. But again, I think a lot's been said about managers and stuff as well. I think, like we mentioned, the players and the board need to take a look at themselves as well. And I hope that Michael Carrick is given all the backing that he needs, and he gets all the staff that he wants and needs to give him the best possible tools at his disposal to get something out of these players. Because, like Wayne said, he's a great guy, and plus his management style is good as well. I mean, his Middlesbrough team used to play with the sort of principles that Michael Carrick had as a player. Like, they were strong in midfield, and they used to play from midfield forward. And yeah, I just hope that he gets the backing that he needs, because that's the most important thing.
I was going to ask you who your next choice for permanent manager would be, but it feels like we almost need to pause that thought a bit at the moment, Wayne, and just see how whoever takes over does for the next few months, and let Manchester United take stock and then reassess.
Yeah, I think long term, you hope Thomas Tuchel goes and wins the World Cup for England, and then I think he'd be one you'd certainly want to try and bring in.
Surely we'd want to keep him at England if that happens. Come on.
No, if he wins the World Cup, then he can go out there. So he'd be the the one you'd look at, but for whoever goes in now, it's an opportunity for them to go and. I think it happened with Ole last time where he went as interim and he done well and he gets the job permanently. So whoever goes in now, it's an opportunity to show the worth. If not, I think there will be good managers coming up. I think Tuchel will be the probably outstanding candidate.
Yeah, I don't think there's like massively good names out there, to be honest with you. Like, I can only think of 3, and I doubt Carlo Ancelotti's going to take it, but I think Nagelsmann and Tuchel are probably like the top managers that you can think of. But I think it can also be the opportunity for, like Wayne said, to get a good English manager in there as well. I think when you look around Europe and you look around the world, there's not a lot of those older managers are sort of going out, whereas there could be an opportunity to get a young manager in and see what they can do.
Carrick manager, Rooney assistant, Kay, that's what you want, isn't it? Imagine if that happened, Kay. Remember what Kay was like in your house, Wayne? He'd be rocking up at Carrington all the time.
Well, look, selfishly, I think I want this podcast to keep going. But,
yeah, Michael, I don't think you should have Wayne. Forget that.
But no, I think look, Wayne going into the club, I mean, I think it'd be absolutely amazing. I mean, looking at somebody like Shesko, for example, as well, to learn from Wayne how to get into certain positions, how to score. Certain other players as well. There's attacking players like Mbumo. I mean, who better than Wayne Rooney?
Just so you know, I'm not begging a job here, by the way.
I
know you're not. But I'm just saying.
Just so everyone knows that. If I was asked to go in, of course, would. But I think the appointment of the manager is the most important thing.
No, 100%. But I'm just saying, as a coach, it'd be great to see like some of those attacking players learning from you. I think who better to learn from?
On that note, actually, Wayne, I watched the game yesterday with Phil Jones, and Danny Welbeck did like a little shift where he shifted the ball backwards and forwards, and he went, "That was a classic Wazza move. Always did that, and I could never stop him." And it was quite interesting. We rolled back the years.
Phil Jones did stop me, and he gave me a big scar on my head.
Oh, I'll mention that next time.
A little bit of plastic surgery on my head because of him.
Wayne, the other huge story of the weekend, of course, came from a Rooney, but actually it wasn't you creating the headlines this weekend. What's it been like being upstaged by your younger brother?
Do you know what? It's one of the proudest moments I've had in football, because to go when the draw was made, I was desperate for BBC to take the game, and then to be there working and watching that, and actually sat right behind John, and so watching him at work and how he composed himself, how calm he was incredible. And then for Macclesfield to win was, I don't think anyone could believe it. Such a proud moment. And yeah, I did. I got a little bit emotional.
The voice went a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. No, just watching it, because we were right behind the dugout, right behind John and Franny, and so watching the reactions when they won, the crowd all run on. Special moment.
Yeah, special indeed. Incredible. And even more incredible, I was going to introduce him as Macclesfield boss, but let's just say your brother, John Rooney, is joining us on the podcast now. John, thank you for joining us. Wow. What have the last kind of 48 hours been like for you?
They've been crazy. It's been a bit surreal, to be fair, because I've probably never really been around this much media and stuff like that, and even in my football when I've played myself. But especially with me only being in the job a couple of months as well, to go on that run in the FA Cup and go and beat a Premier League team, not just Premier League team, that was the current holders, was something special.
It's something, isn't it, Kay, as football fans, that as neutrals you watch it and everyone's rooting for the underdog, and it was amazing, wasn't it? And with us knowing that it was Wayne's brother as well, and I was desperate to hear Wayne's reaction, because Wayne said before that he can be emotional, and we heard it live on TV.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's amazing as well for the people of Macclesfield, obviously what's happened with the club there, and seeing what happened, and talk about getting job security. If that doesn't give you job security for another couple of years, John, I don't know what will. Like, it was absolutely amazing to see the reaction afterwards as well, and I think the belief from the players that you instilled within them. I mean, I've seen your captain come out and say that as soon as he saw Mark Gay, he said he didn't fancy the pitch, he knew he had a chance to get into them. Did you feel that before you were going on?
I knew the pitch would be an advantage for us. We're used to it, our home pitch, but you always dream and you think best case scenarios. But did I think we'd win? I'd probably be probably say no if I'm going to be totally honest. You know, in my lifetime, I've never seen an upset like that. But once we went 1-0 up, I was dying just to get to half time. I was just like, can we get them in at half time? And just, but even at half time, they come in and he was all relaxed, to be fair. The lads, they come in, he was, a few of them bouncing around like they was, did you see this, did you see this? So I just had to calm that down a little bit. But no, it was just more of the same second half, because I don't think it was a snatch and grab game. I thought we had fully deserved winners on the day, which if you told me that before the game, I wouldn't have believed you. But, you know, the lads were outstanding. Obviously, spoke with Wayne after the game, and obviously he said about everyone, but the performance the captain put in as well. But he set the tone from minute one when he went up for that header and cut his head. I think that set the tone for the game, and, you know, I think some of them after that didn't really want to know.
I just want to provide some context to this win as well, because you're Wayne's younger brother, aren't you? Is that right? How old are you, John?
35.
You're only at the start of your managerial career, aren't you? Tell us how long you've been doing it and kind of your journey to this point.
Do you know what? I was going back, it was 2 days before pre-season, so I was in the gym going back to get fit and be ready to go back in pre-season. And then got the phone call off Sav that he'd went to Forest Green, and once I knew that, I rang Rob, the owner, and told him I'd want to take over. I'd already had little chats with him in the past over it if anything did happen with Sav that I'd want to do it. And it happened really quick, so it was literally, I had a chat with him then. I think he was worried about losing me as a player as well, because I told him if I did do it, I didn't want to play, because I didn't think it worked. But it just happened really quick. But to be fair, I probably preferred it like that, because I was just straight in on the Monday, right to work. So no, it was hard probably the first couple of days with the lads, because I was shared the changing room with them last year as a teammate. But listen, I couldn't speak highly of them to do what I've done with this group of lads means more, because I played with them last year as well, and I know what they're all about, I know the character. So it means probably a little bit more. But no, literally been a couple of months in the job, and, you know, I've really enjoyed every minute of it. As Wayne probably knows, when he's had his spells in there, it's a lot more than what you think that goes into it. I didn't realise when I went into it, because I was going in blind, and it's a lot more work than people think.
Wayne, you can probably echo that. Have you kind of offered John any words of advice kind of throughout his transition?
Yeah, I haven't beat the Premier League team, so no. I spoke to John when he went in, and so I know what it is, but he's been working towards that. He'll tell you himself. He was doing some coaching in Everton's academy, and so he's been working towards trying to get a role, and delighted he got this opportunity, because I know how much work he's put in, and to see, I think now everyone's seen what he done the other day, but it's not just the other day, it's what he's done throughout the season. Macclesfield went up a division. He's got them in a good place in that league, and then to go to the fourth round of the FA Cup is incredible. And I was just like, watching it, honestly, was so proud. And I think the thing what got me after the game, I was in the car on the way home, and but everyone's texting, oh, what a great result and how good is this, whatever. And then just got a message off my mum. And it was just a picture, no words, it was just a picture of the two of us side the pitch. So, you know how much that means to us as a family. So, no, it was a special moment. And at the end of the game, the BBC, because they knew there was going to be a pitch invasion, so they put us right behind John and where his coaches was. And I was thinking, I don't want to get close. I don't want to get too close, because I know if I was manager, I wouldn't want all the TV crew right behind me and that close. So I was trying to keep everyone back and keep everyone away a bit, but it was impossible to do that in the end. So no, it was such a special moment.
Yeah, that must have made it even more special, though, to be able to see his emotions. John, were you aware how close Wayne was during the game?
No, so when I spoke, he told me before the game, when I spoke to him before the game, he was sat behind us, but I seen pictures after it, and I think they must have worked their way down, because they ended up right behind us, but I didn't know they was there until I went over after it. No, but it makes it that a little bit more sweeter as well, that Wayne was there doing the commentary and stuff like that, and as he said there, to get them pictures for me mum and my dad, that'll mean a lot to them.
Yeah, what's the reaction of the family been like since? I know, John, you were actually on Match of the Day with me on Sunday night, and you were talking about the fact that you had your wife and your kids there. And is it right that your son? I think you said that your son was on the pitch.
Shay was on the pitch.
Yeah. Shay's on every video. So in the second goal, he jumps over. He's in the middle of all the players, and it's just a brilliant moment because they come every game and they always end up on the pitch. That's the thing about Macclesfield, though. It's a proper community club, and after games, home games, they allow all the kids to go on the pitch after the game once we're all off the pitch. And so the kids love going because they've got that little bit of freedom after the game to go and have a little kickabout and stuff like that with all the other fans. And it's a real community club, and he's made up because he's gone into...
The under-9s were on before the game, weren't they?
Yeah, so there's games on all the time.
And then I heard one of your coaches saying at half-time, can the kids go on at half-time? So they had them on before the game at half-time. It's incredible.
Yeah. Probably couldn't get on their post-match, could they? There's a bit too much going on. I also wanted to ask you a little bit about the build-up, because we've touched upon it and the fact that you said, if you're being honest, you probably didn't think you could do it. But what was the week like building up to it? And in terms of your game plan, did they literally execute it to perfection? Did you know that Palace were going to, given their form of late, did you kind of identify the areas of weakness?
Yeah, so the build-up. So we had the game Tuesday night and the pitch was covered in snow. And then so we went early to clear the pitch, and I was just going to see what it was like. I got in early, and the captain, Paul Dawson, I get there, he's on a tractor trying to get snow off the pitch. So that was on the Tuesday. So we played Tuesday, then Thursday. On Tuesday night, the pitch got covered to make sure we got the game on, that there was no, if any more snow come down, that it was covered. So we had to try and find a training venue for the Thursday. So everything was just a little bit mad, but we didn't have loads of time on the training pitch to work on a lot. It was more just in the changing rooms when I spoke to them, and it was more just saying to them, I didn't want them to sag and go into like a deep block and sit on the edge of their own boxes. And knew Crystal Palace have got good players, and they'll have players who's got the key to break you down. But it was more getting them into a mid block and being organised and have a good shape, and just try and frustrate them and try and get stuff on the counter. I thought he'd done it outstanding. I thought the 20 minutes of the second half, I was most pleased with the way they dealt with that, because Crystal Palace were always going to come out. They probably had a little rollicking at half time, and I think they were going to come out and on the front foot, and but the lads dealt with it, and I thought that was the proudest moment for me, the way they went out second half.
I think for a big thing as well, for all them players, for John as coach and staff, obviously the tragedy which they had over the last few weeks, and how they've adapted and adjusted. I spoke to John. I phoned John up on his birthday on the 17th December, and I didn't know. And then he told me what happened. It was the night before, and I could hear how emotional, how hard it was for him. So how John has adapted and adjusted and took control of all that, and kept his players in a good place to be able to go, not just the Palace game, the games before, to go and perform when we've seen it with Jota in the summer, and how hard that's been for Liverpool. And I know it's still fresh, but to see how John has helped his team and guided his team through that situation, that's forget the result, that's what I'm more proud of more than anything.
Yeah, I guess it's such a scene of celebration, and we saw that, but it felt like Ethan's memory was everywhere. We saw kind of banners at the stadium on Saturday as well. I imagine you've spoken a lot about him since as well, John, because he'll have been watching down, so proud, I'm sure. Yeah,
it was obviously we done all the stuff on Boxing Day with his parents there, Boxing Day, but his dad actually sent me a message the night before wishing us good luck, and I was in two minds whether to send it to the lads or not to give them that extra pressure or get them emotional. So I never ended up sending it, because I knew his parents would come in the game. And after the game, after the celebrations on the pitch, when I walked into the office, his mum and dad was sat in my office, and I had a little moment with them on my own, which was special, because I brought Ethan to the club, and I took a real liking to him from day one. He was a top kid who done everything right. Even just little things like when you told him stuff in training and he'd take it on board, then he'd text you in the night and say, like, thank you for speaking to me, I've took everything on board. And just little stuff like that where you don't really get a lot of players doing that, and for him to take that little bit of time to give you that message and stuff like that. But no, it was a real sad time, as Wayne said. I found out at 8 o'clock in the morning when we got back, and Wayne actually rang me just after to wish me happy birthday, and it was just like I actually texted him after because I just remember him telling me, but I don't even know what else I said to him. And it was just hard. I had to ring every player individually and tell them the news. I don't know how I've done it, to be honest. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And when we seen his parents, it was on Boxing Day. It was not just me, the lads, and it was just so emotional, and for the way they've been from that, not just the performances, but just the way they've been around the place as well, and everyone's come together a lot more. And it's been really, really hard, and they cut right through the club, and it was sad, and to have his mum and dad there the other day, for me, that was special.
What better way to honour him with a victory like that? But now that that's happened, you've gone down in history, John, and you strike me as quite a confident but level-headed man. How far do you reckon you could go in the FA Cup now? Obviously, it's a magical competition. So, do you think you can go?
I was desperate for them to get Man United, but obviously, Man United or Everton and both gone. So I'm thinking,
how far do you think you can go, John?
You don't know. Listen, as Wayne said, then I wanted Everton or Man United, and they're both out now. But listen, you want a good draw. You want another Premier League side, probably away. Probably financially, it's better to play them away for the club, especially at our level. It does a lot for the club. But no, listen, if we get people on our pitch who knows, I think we've seen what we're capable of the other day. But we'll take any Premier League team. But I would like to get Liverpool away.
You're going to the draw tonight at Anfield, aren't you?
Yeah.
Cool. Will that be? I guess this whole thing must just be incredibly a bit like a whirlwind for you. Like I said, you're on Match of the Day. I think you've done BBC TV this morning. Now you're going to the draw tonight, and you could draw, I don't know, Man City or a massive team. It must be crazy.
Yeah, so I want to go and see the draw, but I'm hoping we hoping we get a big one. Just not even just for me, for the lads as well. The way they've been, they deserve it, and the club as well, and obviously the owner Rob. He'd love a big team.
Can we talk about him? Because what a character is. What was it you said, Wayne, that he said to you guys?
I was brilliant at the interview at half time. And you could see just the joy and the pride he had. And then he said he was on the end of a 3-day bender, and he bought the club on Rightmove. It's just surreal. And then, I don't know if he said he was taking all the players to Ibiza, or he was going to go to Ibiza if they win. So. Yeah,
I've heard Ibiza mooted. What? Give us the lowdown, John. You packing your bags, going to Ibiza? Well, you can't. You've got games tomorrow. But
yeah, I think he put in the group chat, I think, to the lads, him and one of the other fellas, Jonathan, that if we win, we'll all go to Ibiza at the end of the season. But to be honest, they probably will look good like that. And they took the lads to Portugal last year when we won the league, but I couldn't go because my youngest son was playing in Spain in a tournament, so I was over there watching him. But no, they do look after the lads. They're really good to the lads, to be fair, and I think they will do something for them.
Is there anything on the table if you win in the fourth round? Has he said anything early?
It's got to be Vegas, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, so it's going to get to the end of the season. You're going to go for a few days in Ibiza, then a few days in Vegas. Is that what you're after?
Yeah, you know what? Anything with Rob, you wouldn't put it past him. He's a real character.
We've spoken a bit about football again. I like talking about football, but I really want to know about the celebrations as well, John, because I know you've got a game on Tuesday, and I know as a manager you probably have to kind of try and temper it a bit with the players and remind them of the game on Tuesday. But if you can't enjoy moments like this, then, I mean, what's the point? How have the celebrations been like for both you and the players? I imagine they're a bit different.
Yeah, the players, I think, enjoy themselves. I'm usually a bit strict when we've got Tuesday games on, when we have an away game, but they like having a drink on the way home. But I'm usually strict when we've got a away game on a game on the Tuesday. But listen, you've got to let them enjoy that the other night. And we went over the bar after doing all the press, and should have seen it. It was nuts in there. None of them had a shower. They were still in the kits. They were behind the bars pouring their own pints. It was carnage in there. But I'm sure I left there pretty early. I left about 7 o'clock, so I'm sure they were there well long after me.
You left at 7. Surely you couldn't sleep though. You must have had a drink or done something at home that evening to kind of celebrate, because the adrenaline must have been pumping through you as well. Yeah,
do you know what? I had a lot of my friends there, and they all went back to the local pub by mine. So I went in there for an hour or two when I got back, but it weren't nothing crazy. And then I went home and put the match on and watched a little bit of it back, and then actually fell asleep watching it, to be honest. I was shattered. I was exhausted.
I suppose it was all right because you knew what the ending was, so you didn't have to wait to find out if you won.
Yeah.
That was the benefit of it. And just a word before we let you go, John, because you must be mediaed out the last few days. I just wanted to ask what your relationship was like growing up and like playing football, because obviously you've gone on to have very different careers, but both heavily involved in football. Wayne, can you remember kind of John as a youngster loving football like you did?
Yeah, I used to throw him out wide and tell him to cross the balls in for me so I can try and score when we were young. But no, what I really liked about John when he started playing, there was a lot of obviously noise saying obviously he's Wayne Rooney's younger brother, and he took himself out to the States and he went through the drafts and he got drafted by New York Red Bulls and then all of a sudden he's playing with Thierry Henry and Marquez was whatever from nowhere, and then he's come back and had a really good career playing himself, and now he's trying to obviously establish himself as a manager. So very dedicated with it, and not took an easy route. He's took a hard route to get where he's got to, and hopefully that's all paying off for him now.
John, what's it been like being Wayne Rooney's younger brother when you've been also trying to kind of have your own career?
We've got one in the middle of us. He's the bad one.
What, is he in football as well?
He used to play. He weren't bad, but he's the mad one out of the three of us.
John, it must be mad though when your brother's probably one of the best players you've played with, and you probably didn't even play with him in a team.
And I would say, no, growing up we was just football mad, whether it was out on the street by the gyms, by where we used to live, or whether it be in the living room with a rolled up pair of socks, or it was just always football. I remember when we was playing the FA Cup final, me and my other brother was playing football in the garden before we left, and I put the ball right through the front window. And my mum went off her head. But now is obviously Wayne's career, he's had speak to itself, and to be his brother and to be that proud of someone who you're so close to have a career he's had is something special. And as you touch on there, I've always been classed as Wayne's brother, but for me that's a good thing, to have a brother like him who's went on and done special things in the game, to be one of the best players to play the game. That's something I'm proud of. And people always ask me, do you get annoyed with him? Like, no, not really. Listen, when you're younger and you're trying to make a career for yourself, and they always ask them questions, that was tough, but it comes second nature now. And when I get asked now, it's like, no, it doesn't really bother me. Like,
also now Wayne's going to be being asked about you all the time. Like I said at the beginning, you're the Rooney that everyone's talking about this weekend.
Listen, I've enjoyed it. It's been carnage, and it's to do it so early on in my managing career as well, because I'm learning all the time, and that's why I wanted to bring Franny in with me as my assistant, because I wanted someone a little bit older who's been around the block and done a lot of coaching in the men's game. And he's been a massive help for me. He's probably been my best signing because he's been a massive help. And I didn't want to you can get someone in who's just a yes man and agree with you because you're the manager, and I wanted someone who would challenge me if he thought I was doing something wrong as well. And that's what he's helped me with. And he has an half helped me and some of the stuff and he's seen in the game himself. But he's also been around coaching. He coached me at Oldham. To bring him in with me was a big coup for me. And obviously Wayne knows Franny well. He made his England debut with him and grew up with him at Everton and stuff like that. And but he's a top lad as well.
Yeah, smart acquisition from your brother Wayne.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think obviously Franny's a little bit older than me as well, and he's experienced. He's been around a few different clubs as a coach, and I think he's been a massive help to John, because sometimes it can be lonely when you're in that manager's job, and if you don't have someone there next to you who you feel has got your back or can support you when you have them low moments, then it can be very difficult. So no, that's a massive sign for John to bring in.
John, we're going to let you go because, as I said, it must have been a whirlwind. Is it time to go home, or have you got 47 more media commitments now? I
think I've got one more, then go to Anfield for the draw, and then I think that'll be it till tomorrow. We've got the game tomorrow, so we've got to set off early. We've got Woking away, which is miles away.
It's a trek, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a trek.
I think my highlight of the whole weekend for you, John, was someone edited your Wikipedia page. I don't know if you've seen that online.
Yeah, someone sent me that, Crystal Palace owner. Someone sent me, I think it was one of the players, little Damani, I think it was. Didn't know what that was about. He's mad.
Like I said, if you can't enjoy these moments, then there's absolutely no point being in football. John, thank you so much for coming on. Been a pleasure and been great. I'm sure Kay agrees, to kind of get yours and Wayne's viewpoint, and to also get another view on Wayne growing up as well. We're trying to gradually get more and more family members on. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
See you later, lad.
See you later. Ta-ra.
And that's where we'll leave today's show. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll be back on Friday with a more in-depth look at the situation at Manchester United and how the club can return to its former glory. You can watch the Wayne Rooney Show on BBC Sport YouTube and iPlayer, or listen on BBC Sounds.